What's good, everyone? I'm Zayas, and today I'm here to review Skip and Loafer by Misaki Takamatsu. Misaki has only drawn a couple short series before beginning her serialization of Skip and Loafer in Monthly Afternoon. One of these works was Kanaria Tachi no Fune, which was pretty good artistically, but when it came to the story, it was super all over the place. And on top of that, it was aiming to be super grand thematically, and it didn't really get anything across, so it kind of just felt really vague and just empty. Skip to Loafer, on the other hand, has to be one of the most exciting manga to come out in the past half decade. You can check me talking a little bit about it here. That was maybe about 10 chapters ago. But since then, the series has kind of exploded in popularity. There's been an anime adaptation, and of course, with an anime, there's tons of new fans. And on top of that, this is just a very good series in general. So, of course, there's more people checking it out. Where to start with this one? I literally loved everything about this series: the story, the characters, the romance, the comedy, the slice of life elements, the artwork. Literally everything in this series is phenomenal. I guess I'll start with the artwork. The art has a lot of character behind it. It stands out stylistically with how these lines are drawn on characters' faces. They're just a little more slanted than you would see in a normal manga. It kind of gives this work its own little feel. It's almost a little shoujo-esque with how flowery, fluffy, and pillowy it can be at times, but it's not all the way there, and I would still say it's much more seinen than shoujo art-wise. There's some beautiful scenery and very well put together backgrounds, but it's not in the grand, over the top type of way. Instead, it's kind of this comforting, cozy type of vibe. The art has a wide range as well. It can be chill, it can be upbeat, it can be warm. At times, it can even get pretty emotional. Characters are very expressive and they display emotion through their eyes very well. And character design in general was just really good. Characters are simple, clear, and easy to distinguish. Misaki is also really good at drawing cute things. There's tons of faces and moments, or sometimes maybe even jokes, where it looks pretty cute. And I'm not too big of a cute person, but even I found it cute. Then there's the whole slice of life school stuff, which kind of ties into the story a little bit, so I'll talk about them together. It gets a little more creative than your standard slice of life school series, but it's not too far from it. Things like karaoke, bowling, plays, a trip to Mitsumi's house, even Valentine's Day. It's not really important what the event in question is. It's more important that we get to see these characters in a wide array of situations, whether they're making friends, creating memories, or just chilling. It's great for getting to know these characters on a deeper level, and it's paced really well. It never really has that lull that a lot of slice of life series fall victim to, and it does a good job of not forcing events to happen for the sake of just having an event. For example, like a beach scene, everything feels natural, nothing seems forced. There is some comedy in here as well. It does kind of take a little bit of a backseat to some of the more important things in the series, but whenever it does happen, it's usually pretty amusing, and sometimes it's even cute. And I think it provides a nice little switch up whenever the series needs it. On to the most essential and crucial part of this series, the characters. Characters are by far the most important reason why this work is good. Not only are they complex and intriguing, there's also a ton of them, and almost every single one of them manages to leave a mark in some way, even in a short period of time. Starting off with our protagonist, Mitsumi, she's a very lovable character, and I respect her quite a bit just for the sheer amount of confidence she displays. She's uninhibited by the world, she's very earnest, and she's not afraid to be embarrassed or look silly if it means accomplishing her goal. It's super refreshing just to watch her bulldoze people's expectations and not be afraid to express herself. She is a high school girl at the end of the day, and she encounters a lot of the same problems somebody in that demographic would. Stuff like romance, relationships, balancing school with all of this. But every time she gets knocked down, she just gets right back up, and it's super inspiring to see. Then you got Shima, who's basically the complete opposite of Mitsumi. He's very conscious of what other people think of him, and he avoids speaking his mind entirely. He's likely afraid to put himself out there because when he has, he's gotten hurt in the past. And we've seen a little bit of his past so far, but it's very likely that we'll see quite a bit more of it very soon. There's more to him than just that, though. He has this childlike innocence to him, and he's always pretty chill and calm. He seems like he's going to get the most character development in the series, so I'm looking forward to it. And he's already started changing a little bit, with Mitsumi kind of influencing him and him trying to aspire to be like her. The romance and the relationship these two build is very cute, some of the best part of this series, and it's why the series is called Skip to Loafer, with Skip referencing Mitsumi and Loafer referencing Shima. The romance is really core to this series, and it was incredibly well done. The way that these characters slowly grew to know more and more about each other, and at the same time grew to like each other more and more. I really love that part of the series. The small moments that these two share together at first may just seem like small little things, but really they're some of the most important parts of this series, and the small details really make all the difference in making the romance really good. It's very well paced. Just because it doesn't rush into romance like some other series do, doesn't mean it's not moving along at a pretty solid speed. The romance feels very youthful, and the moments these two spend together are so adorable, it really does melt your heart. There's tons of cute moments. There's the zoo, there's Valentine's, there's the bowling alley, and probably several more. There is some turmoil going on right now. They did break up, but once Shima kind of figures out his own feelings, he's gotten that pep talk right now, and I think he's gonna figure it out, and they're probably gonna get back into it. Hopefully, if that doesn't happen, I will be a little mad, but hopefully it'll work out. It does feel a little uneasy. It does get your stomach churning a little bit, but if a series can get you that invested, it's probably a good sign. Also connected to that, the drama isn't really these big, crazy events. Instead, they're these small little things which are really heartfelt and really meaningful for certain characters. Mitsumi was upset at Shima over a couple sentences that he probably should have said, which he didn't. And there's other things too, like plays, volleyball, that characters are really invested in. And these small little events will give you a large insight into who these characters are as a person. It's really great to see, especially when you compare it to a lot of works which go way too heavy on the drama for little to no reason. Moving on to the side characters, they're very well done, and they don't have to have a lot of time in the spotlight for them to feel complete and filled with personality. Mukai is the biggest example of this. This guy felt like he had 3 or 4 scenes, but he's super well defined and super likable. There's Kurume, who had this really cute date. I feel like she needs a little more screen time to fully express her personality, but there's not much screen time to go around. Yamada was super cool and very brave. Kanachika was super devoted, which is pretty admirable, but he was a little sly. Yuzuki really has to learn how to stand up for herself, to defend herself from these people who are mistreating her due to jealousy. Egashira kind of has this massive turnaround from the start of the series where she was treating other people poorly and saying mean things to people, and now all of a sudden she's one of the kinder people, and she's grown quite a bit. Even Fumi is playing a big role, like I said before. Now she was talking to Shima and trying to get through to him, and she we'll figure that out in the next chapter. Now is one of the better written trans characters I've seen in manga. She's had a bit of a rough past, but she's pretty well put together now, and she's very caring towards Mitsumi. And the relationship these characters form with one another are super cool too. Yuzu and Kurume are now super close. Then Nao and Egashira have somehow managed to become friends with each other almost. It all feels supernatural, and the way that these characters interact with one another is a little different depending on how close they are to that person, and it's small details like these that really make all the difference. The only criticism I have of this series is that the further in you go, the series really does stretch itself a little thin by having so many characters and trying to develop all of them. I think cutting back on a few characters just so the series could focus on the really important characters probably would have been a little beneficial, but at the same time, it's doing a pretty good job of balancing these characters. especially when you compare it to other series. Like this series, even later on, still blows other series out of the water. It just, when compared to how good it was earlier, it does feel like it's a little worse. I'm super excited for this series to continue. There's still so much to explore. Will these characters get back together? What will happen to Shima? Will he finally mature? What will happen to these other characters' relationships? And will the other characters mature as well? Highly, highly recommend. I'm feeling a decent 9. Like and subscribe. Leave a comment about what manga you've been reading, or maybe what manga you want me to review. I think I'll be doing Bakido next because it's basically finished. Well, I think the raws are even out right now, but there's no translation. So hopefully that'll be done soon. Also, I've basically been on a bi-weekly schedule inadvertently. Hopefully I can get it to weekly at some point, but that will not happen in the next few weeks, sadly. So I don't know, hopefully I can get this next review on 2 weeks, I guess. I'll see you guys in the next one.